you have to think critically about the choice of program because that is where the juice of the story is, right?
Yeah.
You have to, it's about telling, visa application and all is about telling a story, right? So it's not just about what I want.
Right.
For example, I'm in the, science area doing biology, chemistry, and stuff like that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Our Lives Narratives. This platform gives everyday people the opportunity to tell their stories and share their experiences. Our guests, they come from all walks of life, and they continue to give so much value to this platform and to all of our viewers and listeners out there. Today, we do have our guest here. He is a founder and CEO of GradNext Consulting, an experienced researcher in nutrition, oncology, and health. He's an active YouTuber with close to 50,000 subscribers, sharing content about immigration, scholarships, and life in Canada. I'll add he's currently completing his PhD at the University of Alberta. So you all help me welcome no other than Peter Isesele. You are welcome to this platform, Peter.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate, and I'm looking forward to all the conversation we'll be having today.
That's awesome. And I'm looking forward for all of us to tap into some of your experiences, in your areas of work, your YouTube experience and all of that. So thank you. I appreciate taking the time out of your very busy schedule
Absolutely.
to be here this evening. And if you're out there, looking to help somebody or provide immigration information, I would say stay put because a lot of information will be coming to you all, specifically on immigration, studying abroad and all of that. So tell us, introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yeah, so thank you for having me once again. My name is Peter Isesele. I'm currently completing my doctorate at the University of Alberta. And I'm also the founder of GradNext Consulting. It's a unique one-on-one mentorship program where I provide, guidance to people planning to come to Canada for study, irrespective of the area, whether engineering, science, arts, any area. I can look at your profile and give you the best suggestion based on what is obtainable here in Canada. And I enjoy doing research and having conversation with people and sharing my experience is something I really love to do. So
that's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm sure somebody out there will be like, oh, I have all this knowledge. You have to share it someday.
Absolutely, yes.
Find your own platform. It doesn't have to be, on a platform like this, but community, wherever you find yourself,
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
Because you must have one or two people or more that will benefit.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you again
Thank
for being
you
here.
so much. Thank you so much.
So, past conversation, you shared growing up in Nigeria. Shout out to all our Nigerians out there. And also, I'll add, before I forget, Marina's Chapel people are on fire. They keep showing up to share their experience. So, hey, if you're watching Winners Chapel, this is another episode for you. So, you're welcome. All right. So, you shared that you wanted to be a medical doctor.
That's right.
Growing up. But here you are, doing, still in the sciences, but something different. And I feel like you're providing a greater impact, I think, compared to if you were a medical doctor. So share with us a little bit about your academic and your professional backgrounds.
So during my high school, we call it secondary school back in Nigeria, in my, I would say, last 3 years, so you can specialize, either you go for science or you go for arts,
Right.
right? So I was in the science class and I was very good with biology, chemistry, physics, and I would say mathematics as well.
Yeah.
And some of my teachers advised that, well, because you're very good with biology
Yeah.
and all this diagram and everything, so you'll be very good in medicine, right? So, you can become a doctor. And so I started exploring that and looking at, what are the opportunities. But I tried getting into medicine. So the first time, I passed my jump. That's what we call the exam, like really high score.
Okay.
Then then you have to write another exam to get into the university. I tried that, but my score wasn't enough. And then I spoke with somebody else, like, apart from medicine, what other good science course can you do
Right.
that will also provide you the opportunity to, I would say, live life large in the future.
Yeah.
And the person introduced me to biochemistry. I was like, oh, so you have to do biology and chemistry kind of together, looking at the
Right.
human body. And I got to learn that people that are doing medicine, they actually do a lot of biochemistry. So I studied that course. And then when I was done with the course, I planned to go. I was kind of thinking, should I go back to medicine, or maybe why not just go to grad school and maybe get a PhD?
Right.
Right. And so that's kind of what motivated me to, start my master's. And then when I finished my master's, I was like, well, let me just do the PhD because people are already calling me professor, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be like,
Nice.
okay, yeah, you can't just be calling me professor if
Without-
I don't have the
Yeah.
PhD. So that was kind of what motivated me to, start a PhD. And to the glory of God, I'm almost, at the last phase now.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. Thank you.
Juggling everything else that you're doing. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, congratulations and good luck with the rest of your
Thank you so
program.
much.
We'll
Thank you.
celebrate.
Absolutely. Yeah,
My God,
just in a
good.
few weeks. So
Oh, nice. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
that must be a sigh of relief.
Yes,
Yeah.
it feels like, the whole world is just off here. For now,
Yeah.
just kind of looking at and planning the final phase, it feels like the whole world is just on me,
Yeah.
but, in a few weeks, it's just going to be, living like a free man.
That's
and
right.
then kind of thinking about next steps for career and other things.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're rooting for you here
Thank
on
you.
Our Lives in the Radios.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, I know part of your education is, of course, was done here in Canada. So you got introduced to that idea of studying abroad,
Yeah.
right? What was that process like? And just share with our viewers that might be, like I mentioned earlier, either looking to come to study or have families back home. Like,
Yeah.
what was that journey like for you?
So when I was in my final year, I had a friend. His name is Omo. I always like to mention his name in
Yeah.
any podcast
Okay.
because, he's the person that.
Shout out to
Yes, shout out to
you.
Omo. Yeah, currently, he just finished his PhD
Oh,
actually last year, so he's already
Oh,
a
nice.
doctor. So
Alright.
he's already supporting me and just helping me in the process and everything. So back then we had a dream, like we planned, let's go abroad to do maybe a master's or PhD. We didn't really know how the process was for us at that particular
Yeah.
point in time, but he kind of got a little bit ahead of me in the game and kind of started doing a bit of research. And then initially I was thinking about the UK, Germany and some other countries like that because I was looking for a scholarship, right?
Still come.
Because I had a very good grade, so I thought I could secure a scholarship, right? Then I applied to a lot of schools in the UK, but I couldn't get a scholarship. And then he introduced me to to Canada, and he mentioned, like, if you are able to get a supervisor who is willing to accept you into their lab, then you can get funding. Now you now have to start emailing those professors until you see a professor that is willing to supervise you. Once the professor accepts, it means they already have funding, right? So you don't have to apply for the funding separately. So once they accept you, you apply for the admission, then we get your admission letter. It comes with the funding opportunity, right? So I sent emails for a long time, and nobody was responding, or either they respond and they would say, the lab is already full, right? So I almost kind of gave up. At some point I felt like, wow, maybe this is not for me. Kind of, that's the first advice I would have for people. If you really plan to maybe migrate or maybe do your master's or PhD outside of your home country, it's a very tough process. You just have to keep doing it, right? And then I kept sending emails until I emailed one professor, and then he was like, yeah, I have the funding opportunities available. And then after a while, maybe after like a week or so, he mentioned that the funding has been allocated to another professor in the department. And then, so he made a decision, which I think is the best thing that has ever happened to me, that someone just thought about me and just introduced me to another professor in my absence.
Wow.
And told the professor, you know what, I was already in contact with somebody from Nigeria who has the experience and very good grades. And then the professor reached out to me and asked in an email, like, are you interested in this position? It's fully funded, your tuition is covered, cost of living is covered, and this is a project. And immediately I just replied, yes, I'm interested. And then that's kind of how I got started. And then that was at Memorial University in Newfoundland. So that was the first time in fact, the first time I've been to the airport was actually traveling to Canada, know. So it was an emotional journey for me, and I'm very grateful that I did not give up on that journey. And then, learning a few things here and there, and then I was able to get that completed in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy that you said you gave that advice. So be persistent, be consistent.
Absolutely.
You never know. It sounds like you even had a bigger package at the end, right? So
exactly.
I mean, it must have been frustrating for you, but at the end of the day, it was all worth that time. So just taking that extra time and
another thing is that you may not, and sometimes when those professors don't reply to you, it's not because your email is not good enough, or it's not really because they don't want you. If they don't have funding, no matter how good even though you have like a GPA of 5.0 out of 5.0, if they don't have the funding, they're not going to say yes to you, because the condition for them to accept you is that they have the funding opportunity available. And sometimes you don't know whether they have the funding or not. So it's just mostly sending out those random emails for the most part.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
I'm sure somebody's learning something right now. All right. So you have all these experience of, immigration, studying abroad, bubbling in your head, and pandemic hits, and you wanted to share that somehow, to the world.
Yeah.
You decided, okay, I'm going to go on social media to start something. So I know you started Facebook, and then that led to being the YouTuber that you are now.
Something I never expected. I never planned. Like if you tell me that like in 2025 I'm gonna be doing YouTube big, I would never have thought about that.
Wow. Well, thank you did that, because with almost 50,000 subscribers, and those people keep coming back and sharing, it means you're giving a lot of value out there. So what was that journey like? Preparation, you just said this is not something I'd ever thought about, and here you are. What was that journey like for you?
So in March, I remember the month, in March of 2020, so like when pandemic started. So I was still going to the lab a little bit, but I was kind of doing mostly working from home, maybe going to the lab maybe like once or twice a week. So I had a lot of time in the evening, and I was kind of thinking, what can I do with my time that can actually impact people?
Right.
How can I be of help to people? So I started doing Facebook Live. So maybe like, 50 minutes, just sharing experiences, and then tell people, ask questions, like any kind of question you have about, like, coming to school in Canada, getting scholarship
Right.
So if I had started everything up with scholarship, right? Because I kind of have all of the experience and I've interacted with a lot of professors and I know what they want in terms of, maybe sending emails to them and other things. So
Right.
I started sharing those experiences and then I started inviting people on Facebook Live that have had some kind of experience, maybe
Okay.
getting provincial nomination, getting a job, getting permanent residency. So because I haven't experienced those things, so I needed people that are expert or that have passed through that process.
Yeah.
Then I was inviting them. And then I kind of thought to myself, if I do this video after like maybe 3-4 days, then really people don't watch like old videos like that on Facebook,
Right.
because of how the algorithm work, thanks to Mark Zuckerberg. So what I did was to start downloading those videos on Facebook and kind of I read online that you can upload videos on YouTube. I had no idea about how YouTube works. I had no idea that you even had to edit video. I had no idea that you had to think about lighting, and I just don't care. I just record, and then I just post. In fact, I had no idea that there is even something called analytics, and I had no idea. I just upload. So it started getting, people started watching, and then there was one of my video that started getting like 500 views, 1,000 views. 2,000 views. I was like, what's happening?
Nice.
So I learned, okay, people are really interested in this topic.
Yeah.
Then I started doing more videos and more videos and more videos. And then, as I learn, as new things, new policy, comes out, then I do research and I kind of share in terms of how this would benefit, people out there. And then it just keeps going and people keep learning and it's been a journey, I would say.
Well,
Yeah.
wow. So I see time put into it. I see the moment you figured out, oh, okay, I'm providing value, like, okay, I got to go to work.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did your research and you kept going and going.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out how can I keep bringing more goodies.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, yeah. If you're thinking about starting your own channel, it's a lot of work getting to that. So, just figure out what you really, I guess the first step is trying to figure out what people want to, because you shared that with me earlier.
Yeah.
It's not just whatever you want to share. You have to figure out what people are interested in.
Yes. Do you have an audience for what you want to talk about? That's the most important thing. You may want to do something on how to cut grass or something like that, and ask yourself, are people really interested in, what is the audience base for this particular thing I want to talk about? So when I learned that people are really interested, because another thing is that people kept maybe sending me message on Facebook like, oh, I have a question about this. Then I was responding to a lot of persons on YouTube. It was really taking my time. So what I did was gather all the questions that people were asking regularly and started doing video on those things. So when they come to Facebook or maybe WhatsApp to ask, I just send them a link. You know what? I've talked about this thing. So it was saving me time and I was getting more views and more recommendations. It was a win-win for me.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the content of your YouTube channel. I know you've broken them down into 3 areas, studying abroad, applying for scholarship, and then visa application.
Yeah, that's right.
Would you mind sharing a little bit of nuggets in these areas? We could start with studying abroad. You've already started highlighting some, information on that.
So for that, there are different categories, right? There are people that want to come to do bachelor's. There are people that want to come do diploma. There are people that want to come do master's or PhD.
Right.
Then there may be some persons that just finished high school and want to come to maybe Canada to do either diploma or a bachelor's, right?
Okay.
There may be some other persons that have, maybe they did engineering like 10 years ago and now they've been in the business world. They are now like senior managers and now they want to go back to school to study something. right? So maybe they want to do master's or diploma, basically any kind of program that will help them do their job better, right? So I try to cater for the need of everybody, right? So sometimes I talk about diploma programs, right? These are the schools that offer diploma programs, and some other time these are the schools that offer bachelor's program, and these are the kind of programs you should look out for. And then I talk about masters and I talk about PhD. That way, irrespective of what you are planning to, what are planning to come to Canada to study, everybody will definitely find something to watch in my, on my channel, right? So I just give out those information, and then if there are any kind of other maybe questions you have that I have not answered on my videos, then you can reach out to me one-on-one. So that's actually what birthed the mentorship, because there are people that have very personalized cases that I may not have addressed in my video because it's very, individualistic, right? So what I do is I meet with them one-on-one, look at their resume, their experience, and then suggest something for them based on, they already have what they want to study.
Right.
But they're kind of thinking about, what should I do that will increase my chances of getting visa approval? Right. What is in demand in Canada? You are there in Canada. What kind of course, is important? And then I do those consultations with them, and then kind of just give recommendations and advice on what will make sense to them based on their profile. Then they can decide. I'll try to give them maybe like 2 or 3 options.
Right.
Then they decide on the best thing that they want.
Okay.
And then the other part is scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe especially those that in the sciences area, in the science area, the STEM area specifically, right? Okay. There are some other people, persons in the art-related area as well. I can also share a bit of experience. Okay. But mine for that specifically in the STEM area, because that's where you have most of the scholarship. Okay. So if you're coming to do masters, and you're kind of thinking about how do I reach out to professors? What kind of emails? What will be the content of the emails, right? Because I've had interaction. In fact, I've interviewed a professor on my channel.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and kind of asking, what do you look out for, right? If you see an email from potential students, what do you look out for, right? So because I have all those experience, then when you reach out to me, then I can give you advice on how to navigate and do the search. And then when you compose the email, then we can kind of work together and give you a bit of advice on, okay, remove this. That this doesn't look very professional. Okay. This is actually, this is going to shoot you right away. It's going to get you disqualified, and then just providing all of those feedback. And then that for masters or for PhD. And then it's been very successful, right? Like probably I would say maybe about 2, maybe 3 persons that got a scholarship that came to Canada recently and started this fall semester. Oh wow! So, and then for the visa application part, is basically sharing what you have on the IRCC website. So I don't manufacture any information. Okay. So sometimes the information is very, there are a lot of information. So because I kind of know how to navigate, so just kind of streamline and say, okay, if you're looking about how to, in things about funds, this is where you go on the IRCC website to get this information, right? If you're kind of thinking about applying for study permit, these are you get information on what you put in your letter of explanation, and everything on how to build your story, because they outline everything on the IRCC website what they need. So I just give you guide on where to get those relevant information, and you do it yourself. I don't get involved in you doing the application. I because I'm not a registered immigration consultant, so
I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, so I just give you, maybe send you a link, but you do everything yourself.
Yeah, because like if you're researching anything, you go to the government of Canada website, there's just too much.
A lot of information.
You will spend hours. So basically you're saving people their time.
Yeah.
And you know the exact where to find the exact information, right?
Exactly.
So definitely helping.
And if there are new policies, and sometimes it can be very confusing, like they can give out information. So what I do is, I analyze those new policies as regards maybe study permit application, and then explain in details what each of those policies because I kind of understand the terms that they use.
Right.
So it's easy for me to understand, and then I do videos to kind of explain some of those policies. But there's not my policies, their policies.
Yeah,
So
right.
I just, watch and see any new policy that comes
Nice.
out.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, look at all the values that you're getting today. So that's for mostly people, abroad. What about people in Edmonton that, of course, there will be people here that are helping, their loved ones back home, but specifically, you do work with a small group of people here in Edmonton in
Yeah.
terms of career development.
Yep.
For our Edmontonians that are listening, what kinds of direction or guidance do you provide to those individuals that are living in Edmonton specifically?
So I'll say there are different categories of people that I cater for. So firstly, those that are here and maybe they have loved ones that maybe they want to kind of help them in the application process, and so they can reach out to me, and then I can provide them with one of those guidance on how to go about the process, right?
Right.
And then there may be some other persons, let's say they've done a diploma program here in Edmonton, or let's say in any other province, and then they're kind of thinking to do a master's, right? Now they want to contact professors from inside Canada. It's almost the same process, so I can still work with them, look at their emails, kind of give them suggestions on how to go about, the processes and all that. And then also give a little bit of guide in terms of, getting part-time jobs.
Okay.
Let's say if you, especially for those that are new,
Yeah.
and they think about, okay, how do I build a Canadian format resume, right? Because you don't want to do it the way that you used to back in the home country, right?
That's
so you have to
right.
do it in a way that relates best to, the Canadian job market, right? So I can give you some insights as to these are the best job site that you can use, and then I can look at your resume and give feedback on that. And then maybe for those that have already graduated from their bachelor's and kind of thinking about, okay, where should I go? Maybe government or industry. So I can provide a bit of, insight as to how to navigate into those areas. And then if you ask me a question I don't know, because I have a lot of persons that are in those areas, so I can always interview them so that you can benefit on how to break into those different, sector in Edmonton here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you do also help people prepare for interviews sometimes as well.
Yes.
Wow, you're doing a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, just,
Yeah.
managing the time, and then we can talk about that later, kind of how I prioritize and manage everything all together.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you, Peter, for sharing that. So if you're in Edmonton too, you can benefit because the information doesn't just go for people that are migrating. You might be looking for a career change and all of that. You can contact Tech. He'll be sharing his YouTube information later on, and you could always reach out to him. Okay, so your hands are full. You have a lot going on. How do you juggle doing your PhD, your young parent, your daughter is not even a year yet. Happy birthday, it's coming out in advance.
Thank you.
Your YouTube channel, how do you juggle all of that together? And I know you have a very supportive wife.
Yeah. So I think for me it's about creating a system, right? So knowing when you have to do what, right? So for me, mostly like during the week, Monday to Friday is mostly when I do my PhD.
Okay.
Right. So I don't do anything recording video like, in the morning of like on Tuesday morning, because I have to be in the lab, right?
Yeah.
So I've kind of created maybe doing videos on Friday evenings. And then when I'm shooting a video, because, I can do like 3 to 4 videos at a time.
Okay.
I then just, I just do. So what I do, maybe during the week from Monday to like Thursday, I do my research, then kind of write my notes, and, so I already know what to say.
Okay.
So once it's Friday, I just on the camera and I'm already shooting, right? And then on Saturday is kind of where I have all of my consultation with clients from all over the world, depending on where they are coming from. And then maybe that Saturday evening, mostly Saturday or Sunday evening is when I do my video edit.
Okay.
So by Monday, I've done all of my consultation.
Right.
I've done all of my videos and it's ready. So I just post the videos like on Sunday, that, okay, I scheduled the video to come out on Monday and on Thursday. That way, throughout the rest of the week, I don't do anything on like recording videos or editing. The only thing I just do maybe in the evening, just look at the videos and comments. Maybe look at the comments because it's very important. Like look at the questions that people are asking. Then I use that to develop new videos. If I see questions people ask repeatedly, it means some people are interested in it, and I do videos on that. And then of course I have a very supportive wife, so when the baby is crying, I have to record video, so so she'll always, take care of the baby, and so that has been the support. And just prioritizing, right? There may be sometimes I don't do video on a Friday. Maybe I have a deadline. Maybe I have the paper to submit on the following week. So if I'm not able to do, and I just kind of plan. Sometimes I do like 8 videos ahead.
Wow.
So when I'm not able to do a video for like 2 weeks, I still have videos to post, right? So just prioritizing and then learning and learning and learning. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Augustina.
Thank you.
So I hear, or I see discipline, you have to be on point.
Yeah.
Prioritizing, and you have to be flexible as well, right? Because life is not all, it changes,
You don't want to be a slave to...
That's right.
Yeah, you don't want to be a slave to kind of the things you set up, right?
Yeah.
So you can make adjustments, but it has to be a bit strict, right? Because sometimes I may not feel like doing it. That's one excuse, right? If I don't feel like doing the video, that's one excuse. So except if it's something pressing.
Okay.
If it's just maybe being tired, depending on how tired I am.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I just try to stick with doing those videos. There's times I plan to do the videos, something else happens, but I just try to, especially when I have something pressing, because there may be a new policy that comes out. You have to try to do the video within a short time frame. So that they can get a lot of views, because people are searching for that thing within those couple of hours. So you have to be on time with those kind of videos.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Good job, though.
Thank you.
A lot we're learning here today. So, based on all that you've shared with us today and some of your experiences, I know it's hard, but how would you describe all of that in one word?
I would just say planning.
Okay.
Planning.
And, you've already told us about you want to, expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. So there are, a lot of things that you have to do.
Okay.
So you have to do research on the videos you want to do, the research on your school. So you have to plan, right? So mostly maybe, maybe at the beginning of the week, you plan out the week, and then learning how to say no to things that are not very pressing.
Right.
Or maybe someone may invite you, let's go out for this on the Friday evening. And if it's not something very pressing, I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I have something already scheduled for that. So
that's hard to do.
It's tough. Yeah, so that's why you have to if I have to, maybe I have to go, we have to kind of try to plan it ahead of time.
Right.
So if I have to, maybe instead of doing my videos on Friday, I have to do it maybe on a Thursday or on a Saturday, then I can kind of plan around that, right? But, a lot of planning involved in that, and especially planning like a week out. I think that is what has really helped me.
Okay. And that Friday is where you do, a whole bunch of videos. It helps for those days that you might not even feel like it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm sure there are days you're like, I'm not even feeling it today, doing the video and all of that. So planning for sure. And you could apply that to, any walks of life.
Absolutely.
So Thank you for reminding us.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Our planning. All right, Peter. So, what advice do you have for our viewers out there when it comes to deciding or planning to study abroad? Because it sounds like there's a lot
Yeah,
involved.
yeah. So you just have to decide on what you want,
Okay.
from the get-go, and don't be in a rush,
Okay.
and you have to be aware. I think the most important thing is understanding timing, right? So if you're thinking about you want to start in January or May or fall, which is September, then there are
Right.
deadlines to apply for admission, right? So, and then you need time to do your visa application and other things. So you need to plan it. For example, if you want to start in, let's say, fall of 2025, this is a time to start now, to start, doing your application and thinking about it, because the deadline for a lot of schools for, let's say, fall 2025 is going to be mostly a few of them you will have for December this year.
Okay.
Then you have some other for January, and then a few other in February, and then March.
Okay.
Right? So if you come in, let's say by March of 2025, and you're thinking about, I want to study in fall of 2025, the deadline for admission is already gone, right? A lot of people have reached out to me and be like, okay, sorry, September is already closed, and you have to wait for maybe January. And if you're unfortunate that the course you want to apply for, they only offer it in fall start date, which means you have to wait till 2026. So you have to really plan and start early, right? Then you have to get all of the necessary information and then do your research, right? Especially if you are thinking about the scholarship route, right?
Okay.
Because it's a lot of, you have to contact professors ahead, and that might take you, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, depending on, how lucky you are, I would say, and how fortunate you are in terms of reaching out to professors, right? So if you're thinking about fall, and if you think about the deadline, I would say just plan a little bit, let's say, like 3 to 4 months before the deadline.
Okay.
So that you can have a lot of time to contact those professors, so that when they tell you yes, then you have a lot of time to prepare your document for admission, reach out to people you're going to use for your as referees, right? So it takes a lot of time.
Right.
That is for those that are looking for scholarship. Then if you're planning to go for college, right? Maybe you want to do a diploma program, a postgraduate diploma program. The deadline for that is a little bit, I think that a bit lenient with that. So if you're planning to apply, let's say for fall of 2025, there are some schools you can still apply to. You can still apply by March of 2025. Even there are some you can still apply in April.
Okay.
Right? But there are some that, especially those that offer only one start date, so they get filled up pretty quickly, right? So I would say, even though you are doing college, I would say plan a little bit early, right? I would say give yourself like 9 months to 1 year to the start of the program and start planning based on that, because you don't want to miss the deadline.
Right.
You want to put in the best application possible, right? And another thing is that you don't want to apply to early, like very close to the resumption date, right?
Right.
I've seen some people, maybe you apply to a college Saturday, September,
Yeah.
and then you get admission in like May, right? Now you have June, July, August to kind of put things together to apply for your visa. Sometimes it might be a lot of work. You might need to prepare a few things and then watch some videos, watch my videos, learn about how to do a lot of things. So it might be a lot of time. So I would say just plan a little bit early, right? And then know the deadline of the school you want to apply to and plan ahead. And then if there's any question you have about maybe eligibility criteria you are not very sure of, you can always reach out to the school and ask questions, and they're always willing to, give some suggestions and feedback in terms of that, right? And then lastly, you have to think about, you have to think critically about the choice of program, because that is where the juice of the story is, right?
Yeah.
You have to, it's about telling, visa application and all, is about telling a story, right? So it's not just about what I want.
Right.
For example, I'm in the, science area doing biology, chemistry, and stuff like that.
Right.
If I decide to say, you know what, I think I like music,
Yeah.
or I like nursing, right?
Right.
Or many other, economics and stuff like that. I just like it.
Yeah.
I may like it, but number one, if you apply for admission, it may be a little bit tough to get admission, because the admission committee will look at how is this program relevant to your profile. And then when you apply for the visa application, stuff like that, the visa officer probably will looking at how is this, whatever you've applied for, how will it benefit you? If they think it would benefit you, you probably might get a rejection. Because,
So not even the country, like if it benefits you.
yeah, it
That's
has to benefit
interesting.
you, right? For example, you studied bachelor's in engineering. Now
Right.
you've been working in sales, marketing for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you decide, oh, I want to go do masters in engineering. They might think
Right.
like, you know what, this may not benefit you, except you clearly explain to them why you were switching, right? So it has to be really, really clear to them as to why you are switching. So it's a lot of planning and learning, kind of learning how to not get rejected, and then, it helps you build your own story very well.
Right. Wow. That's a lot. There's a lot involved.
Yeah.
So just give
Yeah.
yourself enough time.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that's
Yeah.
it. So that way, because you have to think about the visa as well, right?
The
Like,
visa application and
yeah.
stuff
So
like that.
really, you want to make sure everything lines up to
Yes,
match up, the application for your visa.
Exactly.
Otherwise, things will not go
Yeah.
smooth. Wow.
There are lots of information on IRS's website in terms of what they expect for visa application. So that's what I do. So I look
Right.
at what they've said on their website and explain what they've said, and kind of give where you can get relevant information on their websites.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Relevant information.
Yeah.
So now let's go talk about YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm already getting tips from Peter. So if you're watching this episode today, type in the comments your location and what attracted you to this platform. Let's see. That's how that tip is gonna work out.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So, what is your advice to aspiring YouTubers and fairly new YouTubers?
So I think for me, when I started, it started more like a hobby.
Okay.
Okay. And then later on, it kind of turned into a little bit of business.
Okay.
So you have to be strategic in terms of what is that, why you're doing the YouTube.
Okay.
Are you here to entertain? You're here to entertain and maybe, earn some money from it, because maybe over time some people can go full time into YouTube.
Right.
So I mean, for a start, I would say the intention should be value creation.
Okay.
Right, because if you want to, so I want to make all that. I see all these big YouTubers that are making and making thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
but you don't have the content,
Right.
right? And if you just focus on that, you're going to miss it. I think for a start, think about what is the purpose for the YouTube, and then over time, it's just going to get better, right? You're going to learn a lot of stuff on the way. There are a lot of times in the evening, I just watch videos on how to grow a YouTube, how to build a story. How do you get viewers to keep coming? Because there are people that have done they have millions of subscribers, and they teach people how to grow on YouTube, right? So I've watched a lot of videos learning how to grow a YouTube channel, from, writing good titles to getting an attractive thumbnail, right? Because you ask yourself, if somebody, if I have 20 videos on my homepage and I see this particular, what will make me to click on one of the video.
Right.
So I kind of use myself and put myself in the mind of the audience in terms of what will make them to click on the video. What should I write? You know, if there's there one thing that will make them captivating, that will make them to write, to click on the video.
Yeah.
Because no matter how good the quality of the video is, if people don't click on it,
That's right.
they're not gonna watch.
True.
So think about what will make them to click. Okay, that's where your title and your thumbnail comes in. And secondly, you now have to think about audience retention, right? How will you keep them, glued to your channel? Because that is what YouTube, that's what they are looking for, right? They don't like it. You have a 20 minutes video, people watch 30 seconds and leave. They don't like that, right? So it means that the retention time is very low.
Right.
So they would not promote that video. So the algorithm will not share, because it's about the algorithm, right? So you want to try to please the algorithm, so that the algorithm can push out your videos.
That's right. Yeah.
So things like responding to comment, then they can see that you engage with your audience, right? They ask questions, you respond. I know this might be a little bit tough for big channels, like who have millions of subscribers. Like those things don't really matter a lot, because like people already know whether they respond to comment or not, right? People already know them, right? So just kind of thinking about that. And the most important, I think for me, asking myself, what do people want to learn? So it's not just what I want to talk about. I've tried I've tried doing some vlogs, and it wasn't just for me. It is like my audience, I think they are very serious audience, I would say. So they just like to get information. So when I did vlogs and like, I'm going to grocery to buy this, I'm like, like I didn't get a lot of views and like that. So
stick to
stick to what works for you. And then every time I keep going into the algorithm and kind of asking myself, so people are watching this video and they click off after like maybe 40 seconds. Then I kind of go back to the videos and watch what I talked about in those 40 seconds. Right? And there's always a saying that the first 30 seconds of your video, there has to be a hook. There has to be something that will catch the people, the attention. Because there are tons of video, right, everywhere, and most time people are kind of looking at, there are a lot of options. If you're doing podcasts, and there are thousands and millions of podcasts and options,
a lot of us out there.
So if you click on a video, I mean, it happens to all of us. If you click on the video in the first 10 seconds, if it's not something you want, then people are not going to watch, right? So sometimes what I do in that first 30 seconds, I give a summary of what I'm going to talk about. Everyone in this video, I'll talk about this, and this. That way, if they are interested in the third point, they will know that something I talked about, and then they can kind of plan and watch the video a little bit along the way, right? And then in the middle of the video, just do a little bit of distraction, like something that will keep people refocused, right? So that can be just making a little bit of a joke or anything at all that can kind of make them look more interested. So you don't want to get them bored. And then try to get them engaged, right? Maybe by comment and telling them to subscribe. That's very important. So you have to tell them, thank you for watching this video, please subscribe. So what I do is I try to do that. Maybe I don't like doing that at the beginning of the video.
Makes sense.
Because like if I've not watched your video, I don't know the content.
That's true.
So why will you tell me to subscribe when I don't know the quality of what I'm going to watch yet? So I try to give like maybe 5 minutes information, and I'll pause and say, you know what? If you've been enjoying this video so far, why don't you consider subscribing? Like this video, put a comment, and then just explain that it will help the algorithm to push out this video, right? And then at the end of the video, also tell them to subscribe. And then most importantly, I look at the comments that people are giving and try to respond as much as possible. Because That way, people will ask more questions.
True. Yeah.
Because if you ask one and you don't respond, like people feel like, yeah, this guy never responds to questions, right? So I try to respond to as many. I can't respond to everything, and then you also see some negative comments here and there.
So how do you handle those?
And you also see some spam comments.
Oh, okay.
Right? There are people that will just post their links on some.
So that way they can.
Yeah. So what I do, I just try to delete. I watch and then try to delete some of those spam comments and all that, and then just repeat the cycle and then I try to be consistent, right?
Okay.
For now, I'll be trying to do like 2 videos in the week.
Okay.
For the most part, and then try to do. So another thing I do is that the topics I've talked about before, I talk about it again.
Okay.
Because there are YouTube will always recommend the video to new audience. Even though you are talking about the same thing, it doesn't matter.
So do you redo the video or you just repost what you
Sometimes,
Okay.
I'll say 90% of doing the video again.
Okay.
So if I reposting the video, maybe once in a while, if I'm too lazy to.
Yeah.
But what I do is I do another introduction.
Okay.
And say,
kind of spice it up.
Yeah, kind of spice it up, say a few things. And especially if there are things that don't change. Right? Like schools that offer bachelor's program and other things may not necessarily change, right? But I kind of spice up the introduction and maybe based on the few things that I've learned.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I try to have a Google Doc where I have all of my scripts for every video. So anytime I want to go back, I have like hundreds of videos. I have the scripts written for those, and then I just edit, add a few things to those videos. That way I don't have to spend like donkey years trying to write script for every video, and then just repeat the cycle and then keep doing it.
Oh, indeed, you're a planner.
Yeah.
Because you're not scrambling, last minute when you need to kind of revamp or spicing up a previous video. So how do you handle negative comments?
So
I'm curious.
Yeah, so it depends on what the comment is.
Okay.
Sometimes process of video, people be like, oh, the audio is too loud, it's very distracting, I don't like the video,
Yeah.
Then some persons might say, all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
That may demoralize you somehow, but some of them I respond to them.
Okay.
Maybe I post a video, like maybe 10, 14 minutes video, and somebody can post like, this video is too long. I mean, like, but people are watching this, and so for comments like that, I would just maybe comment and say, you know what, yeah, I will make it shorter next time.
Yeah.
To just kind of cater for needs of. But if I see that it's a very negative comment that will also, deter other people from watching the video, I just remove some of those comments.
Okay.
Yeah, but if it's something, in fact, some of my audience help me to respond to those comments first, right? So, but at the end of the day, I just think about like it's like 90% good comment and like 1%, so it doesn't really make so much difference,
right?
But there are more persons that are benefiting from the video.
Exactly.
So, but it doesn't stop me from doing what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So removing the ones that you do, they don't have any negative consequence.
It doesn't have any
on your
impact.
algorithm.
It doesn't have any impact. Yeah, because there are tons of other comments.
Right.
Right. So you want to make sure your audience they enjoy the video, and the community is like, you want to make sure the comment section is like a community. Positive, yes. Right? So if you have somebody that is like infiltrating the comments and seeing a little bit of thing, then it may distract people from actually focusing on the video, right? So I decide what to do with those comments.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Lots of work that goes into. We have homework to do as well. So if you've been watching up to this point, and if you are a returning fan or subscriber, or I wouldn't say subscriber, if you've been coming back and you haven't had the time or you haven't thought about subscribing, and you feel like this channel is bringing value to you or the community, please subscribe now. make sure to share and leave your comments, positive comments, so that way others can continue to benefit from it. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. It's a good tip.
It's gonna work.
It always work, yeah. Because sometimes people are watching and they're not really planning to subscribe, but by the
True.
time you say that,
Yeah.
then especially when they've learned something from the video, right?
Right.
Then they just, if you remind them, sometimes maybe you put a button, subscribe or like.
Right.
Sometimes. So what I do, even though I'm not saying subscribe, to some of those buttons like subscribe and like can come up. I insert those ones myself, like
Right.
within certain time frame.
Yeah.
So even though I don't say it, then it's a come up and people can visualize it. Oh,
Yeah.
Subscribe just came up
Just
and like,
jog your
because
mind.
those like is they're very important, because when
Right.
people like your video, it tells YouTube that, oh, this person actually enjoy watching this.
Yeah.
Then they can recommend. I would say maybe one like for one more recommendation.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's build our own community here. Don't
Exactly.
just watch. A lot of people are watching, but I feel like it doesn't. Our subscribers don't match the people that are watching. So if you're watching today and you haven't subscribed yet, or you don't interact, leave your comments and like as much as possible. Thank you so much, Peter. We do appreciate you here today. We do appreciate you taking the time and sharing all of this information. So kindly share with our viewers your YouTube channel, so that way, or any relevant information if they wanted to contact you.
Yeah. So if you just go on YouTube and type Peter Isesele, Peter, and then Isesele, probably the first thing you will find is my channel. And then you can contact me anywhere. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram is all the same. And then if you want to have a one-on-one mentorship, you can also check my website, www.gradsnest.com. Yes, and for those that are coming from my channel to this video, please support this channel as much as possible. Subscribe and then call all your friends, share with all your family members and subscribe, because it's a very good channel and you learn a lot of information and things from it. So please subscribe. And then put a comment. If you are from my channel, just put a comment that, I'm from Peter's channel. And
well,
then
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I may offer you some discount for just
That's
subscribing.
right. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate. I appreciate
you.
all the value you brought here today. And thank you so much. And good luck with we can't wait to celebrate with you at the end soon.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
All of the celebrations coming up. Your wife's birthday is coming up.
Very
your
soon.
daughter's birthday.
Yeah, it's a gigantic celebration.
Yeah, that's right. 3-1. Thank you so much. Well, you guys have been listening and watching our Live Narrative podcast today. And wow, look at all of the information that, Peter has shared with us. So make sure to check out his YouTube channel and reach out. I know there's a lot of immigrants watching us. So if you do have plans of helping somebody, or somebody that wants to migrate, just reach out to Peter. He's an expert. And there's a lot of success stories as well. So
exactly.
take the time. So we appreciate your time here today. Again, subscribe, like, share, and leave your comments, as we'll continue to help our channel grow. Until we meet again, as I always say, it's our lives and our story. Peter, why don't you say goodbye?
Thank you, everyone, for watching. I do appreciate all your, time and effort, and I believe you learned one or two things. So, yes, keep coming back and supporting this channel as much as well. Then, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm very excited to have the
pleasure.
opportunity to share, a lot of the things I've learned, over the couple of years. So, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you as well. We appreciate it. All right, well, you have a good evening. Bye-bye. Until we see you again. Take care. Bye.